Hey, so we are live and it is Menopause Awareness Day on Friday, the 18th of October. So I thought I'd go live every day this week at 5. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. On Friday, I'll go live earlier because I quite like to finish work by 5 o'clock on Fridays in the UK, that is. So I appreciate there's lots of people join the group from all over the world. We've got many, many more people from the States. And just today, I added somebody from Australia. So welcome wherever you're listening in from. And please put in hashtag replay if you are listening to this on replay, because that helps it stay live. And, usually what I try to do when I go live is pepper these with um, lots of useful information, but also qualified information. So this group has grown from a small bunch of friends to, over 2,500 women, which is amazing. And I really, really appreciate. But there are days when I go to posts and I see someone who's obviously in distress, getting all sorts of advice from many of us who are, very helpful, but we've all got our own stories. We've all got our own journey. And it's really, really important to bear that in mind, that we are all individual, that our symptoms at menopause can look similar. So my symptoms might look exactly the same as somebody else's symptoms, but actually they can have a different causation. And we may not find out the actual causation until we go to something like the Dutch test, the dried urine test, which is a comprehensive health check, which shows your true hormone profile, for instance. So if you go to the GP or the medic and get a blood test, it won't really show your true female hormone profile or your sexual hormone profile. So if something's flagged up there on a blood test, it's pretty serious and you need to act fast. Really, what you want is a much more sensitive test that tells you what's happening throughout the course of 24 hours and to give you a much better idea of where you're at if you're going to tests. If you come to someone like me who's a homeopath and I've been in practice for over 25 years, taking the cases of women, looking at the whole hormonal health profile for 25 years, and not just 25 years, but every day of the week, some weeks, every day of the month, every month of the year. That's a lot of cases and a lot of women. So, what you get in the group space sometimes is one woman's experience, one woman's reading profile, giving you advice. So just bear that in mind. If you take someone's advice in this space and you're not seeing results and you've got severe symptoms like palpitations or extreme anxiety, you must seek out support. You must go and see a practitioner. Now, that doesn't have to be a mainstream medic, because as we find in the UK here, our GPs are not well trained in menopause. And I know that's why many of you are here, because you're not getting the answers from your medics, and even in my training 25 years ago, we weren't trained in menopause as a separate subject, for instance. We were well trained in female hormonal irregularities, but we didn't learn about specific menopause symptoms. We didn't learn about specific thyroid symptoms. And I'm seeing thyroid symptoms exacerbated since COVID. So, the thyroid conversation is even more of an issue now. And again, I wasn't taught that's a separate subject, and neither was your GP, and neither was your naturopath, So now, thankfully, we are beginning to have that training in our colleges. And for at least the past 5 years, practitioners are well trained in, the thyroid, which can be really low at menopause. For many women, that's an issue. If you've got weight gain, for instance, indicates that your thyroid is not working at full speed, because your thyroid looks after your metabolic rate. And if your metabolic rate isn't working fast, then you get, at adequate speed, then you're going to gain weight. So we need to look at our capacity to deal with protein, to metabolize protein, to turn it into what we need. Some of our hormones are made out of steroids, some of them are made out of protein. So if our protein metabolism, governed by the thyroid, is out of whack, you're not going to make your hormones properly. But today, I really wanted to talk about stress and anxiety, surges of anxiety, because, until I went through menopause, I didn't really have levels of anxiety like that in my life previously. Of course, I've been anxious. Of course, I've been apprehensive about stuff or nervous about doing a talk or something like that. But what I hadn't really experienced was surges of anxiety for absolutely no reason. And that is what can happen at menopause. And it really can hit you sideways, as I know some of you are posting about and asking questions about. So, how do we manage that? And what's actually going on? Let's talk about that first. So, basically, under stress, so you're getting all these different hormone surges as things level out. So you'll be getting surges of estrogen, surges of testosterone that perhaps you've never experienced before, or if you cast your mind back, you might have had at puberty. So if you experienced any kind of rage or tears or upset at puberty, chances were that was a surge of a particular hormone. So a few things are happening. The body is still trying to produce a baby. We're trying to ensure the survival of the human race. So while we're having periods, our body is trying to produce a healthy egg. So it's trying to release that egg with the view that that will get fertilized, whether we like it or not, whether that's our conversation or not. That is what our body is doing. And in order to do that in perimenopause, your body's got to work that much harder. So there'll be more stimulating hormones to try and release an egg, to try and get that egg fertilized and see some women experience surges of testosterone at menopause. They experience a heightened libido at menopause. That's the body just unfortunately trying to make another baby. And we're very basic when it comes down to it. So we get these surges of different hormones going on. And when we're under stress, which can happen a lot at menopause, because many of us have got, kids going through college or university, we've often got more responsibilities at work because we're older, we're more mature, we might be managing more people, and we've often got elderly relatives that we're looking after. So we're in a position where we can have a lot more stress around us. And as the body deals with that stress, it increases what's called cortisol in the adrenal cortex. And that cortisol is there to help us manage stress. We wouldn't function without cortisol. It's a really important driver for us. It makes us respond to situations intelligently and articulately. But surges of that too high can have us really anxious and can point towards things like, ADHD as well. So where you're hyper focused on something and you can't get it off your mind. And that could be on a person. I've seen women at menopause fall in love with totally inappropriate people because we've got all these drivers that are trying to just kind of complete a cycle for us. Yeah. So if that makes sense to you, put a thumbs up in the comments section. But the fallout of that, these surges of stress, for instance, these surges of cortisol, is that they're using the same building materials that we would build progesterone out of. Progesterone is our feel-good hormone. It's our safe hormone. We only produce it when we're safe. It's what helps us carry our babies. It's also a hormone that we have loads and loads of progesterone receptor sites in the brain that the progesterone communicates with the brain. And what it gives us is a lot of insight. It gives us clarity of thought. So when we're in a healthy place, a balanced place, we can look into the future, see what's coming, and make a plan. All of that is the action of progesterone. So if your brain's feeling scrambled, if you can't think straight, if you're feeling anxiety, chances are that your body's gone into a cortisol overdrive and it is borrowing those building materials for progesterone, utilizing them, and suddenly you can't make your progesterone. You can't feel good. You can't feel balanced. So what can we do about that? You'll see me and many, many practitioners talk about the function of magnesium in the body. So magnesium is responsible for over 300 enzymatic actions in the body. It's massively needed at menopause. There are lots of things that rob you of magnesium. So when you're in perimenopause, it really helps balance your blood sugar. When you're right in the throes of hot sweats and poor sleep, that's what it's going to help you with. And when you're post-menopause, magnesium's probably its biggest role. It does support the nervous system. So, it would support anxiety, for instance, in older age, which I see a lot of. Um, and it would really support your bone integrity. So, you can listen to any amount of people that will tell you magnesium's important for your bones. Magnesium's important if you sweat. So that's the hot sweats. Magnesium's important if you're losing sleep. Magnesium is important if your blood sugar's imbalanced. So I highly recommend that you get it into your life. Now, historically, you'll have heard me talk about Better You magnesium spray oil, which is available in the UK, and you'll have similar types of a light spray oil available in your country. If you live next to the sea, then go and wade or swim in the sea every day. You'll get your magnesium naturally. Can get it from foods. You can get it from green food. You can get it from raw chocolate. That's great. Although don't eat that raw chocolate right before bedtime, because that might be too stimulating for you and you don't want to not sleep because you've tried to have your magnesium as raw chocolate. But historically, I said use this Better You magnesium spray oil or take an Epsom salt bath, because we do absorb magnesium very efficiently through the skin. So this is a spray that you would put on your skin, or you'd take an Epsom salt bath. And that still is a really, really great way of getting magnesium into your body. So when I first did this, I did it for 6 months. I encourage you to do magnesium for 6 months. And the second month, I really craved cheese. Now, of course, milk, dairy, butter is full of calcium. So the magnesium was encouraging me to take up calcium more efficiently, which is amazing, isn't it? How clever was that? So it's making healthy, strong bones for me. You can also take it as a supplement, but please read the label. This is a supplement called Magnesium Supreme. And I'll give a link for those of you in the UK down below to a company called Natural Dispensary. And I've got a discount code there, 15% off for this and the Better You spray oil. Now, just actually, there's one last thing about the Better You spray oil. I usually say to use that after your shower in the morning. You could also use it at night time before bed. I don't like the nighttime version and I don't like the joint version because they've got something called PEG 40 in it. PEG 40 is an additive that's put into liquids to help draw together different types of oils. So the magnesium for the joints and the magnesium for the sleep from this company have something called PEG 40 in, and that's so that the essential oils that they put in it will bind together with the base oil. So in order to avoid that, you could make up an essential oil blend to help you sleep. I'll talk about that another day. You could make up an essential oil blend for your joints. Again, I'll talk about that another day. So the original version, spray in the morning, spray at bedtime. That will help boost your magnesium levels, relax your nervous system, relax your muscles, soothe your nerves, help you get to sleep, and help you generate your hormones more efficiently. Or you can take a supplement. So I've started taking this relatively recently because this particular one, Magnesium Supreme, has very little in the way of fillers and binders in it. Now, one of the reasons I don't like most magnesium supplements is because you'll see things like magnesium stearate, various silicates in them, which are just fillers and binders. You might as well be eating talc, frankly. Look them up on the internet, read the label, and decide for yourself. Do you want to take fillers and binders that your gut will struggle with when you've already potentially got a leaky gut at menopause? The answer for me is no. If you want to continue with that, of course, it's absolutely fine. It's your choice, but I'm just laying it out. There's an awful lot of stuff being recommended in the group, which I would say read the label. Yeah. So I do like this one. It's got 4 different types of magnesium in it. So that ticks a lot of boxes for me. It has magnesium glycinate in it, citrate, malate, taurate. It's in a vegetarian capsule, so relatively little in the way of nasties for me. So I'm happy to take this. So if you want to take an oral supplement, Magnesium Supreme, in the UK. If you're in the US or Australia and you can't find something equivalent, just put it in the comments and I will look up what we use on the natural menopause course. So I run the natural menopause course with my colleague Fiona Eady. It's a 6-week course. And in that, we extensively research supplements and all the fillers and binders and come up with the best that we possibly can in terms of advice. So if you can't find what you want in the US, I do have a link to a supplement that we recommend that's available over there. So magnesium's great. The goal is to reduce stress, as you've heard. Now, a lot of posts I've seen someone say I'm anxious, and a lot of answers, go and exercise, go and exercise. Yes, exercise may be totally appropriate, but what type of exercise? Generally speaking, in the first half of your menstrual cycle, if you're still menstruating, that's when you want to do stuff like your HIIT, your high intensity exercise, your load bearing exercise, etc. In the second half of your cycle, when you're trying to produce that progesterone, you don't want to do something that's stress creating. What you want to do is you want to do your walking, you want to get out under the trees, you want to do gentle exercise like qigong, or you want to do restorative yoga, possibly yin yoga. Sometimes yin yoga is too relaxing. For me, through menopause, it depleted an already depleted organ. So I could talk more about that. But just the basics are beginning of your cycle, first 2 weeks of your cycle, go for it. Second 2 weeks of your cycle, don't go for it. Relax, slow down. And it's just as good for you to take a 30-minute walk as it is to go to a yoga class and do restorative yoga. You know, put some nice music on, walk with headphones, walk under the trees. You know, try to just get away from the screen as well. There's all sorts of reasons why that might be aggravating for us. So yeah, when it comes to exercise, note what's appropriate for your body. And it might be that you've got something specific, you know, that you are experiencing muscle wastage. I mean, that's a completely different conversation at menopause. And yes, load-bearing exercises are important in that scenario, but you might also be looking at targeted superfoods to help you build muscle. So what other resources have we got for anxiety? Some of the things that I really like that are readily available the world over, whether you're in Australia, where they come from, the Australian bushflower essences, or you're in the UK, or you're in the US. These are amazing flower essences to help create balance. Now, I've actually bought 4 in with me, but this one is called Calm and Clear. And this is a really lovely, steady one that you could take every day, 7 drops, AM and PM. Or you could put 7 drops into your water when you're going into a busy meeting, for instance, and you know you're going to feel a bit stressed. So that's like helping you keep balanced. It's got some nice flower essences in for balancing your cortisol. If you're getting surges of anxiety, though, the one I'd really go for is emergency essence. Now, this particular version I've got is a spray. So, oh, yeah, I can just do that. It's got a gorgeous bit of essential oils in it as well. Or you can take it orally. Comes in a dropper bottle like this. 7 drops under the tongue or 7 drops in a glass of water. Just sip slowly while you're feeling stressed. Amazing. So Calm and Clear is a little bit more of an everyday, want to keep on an even keel. Perhaps you're taking it into a situation where you might be stressed. If you're feeling like really overwhelmed and anxious, I love this emergency essence. Yeah, they're both fantastic solutions. You can use them as a spray, you can use them as drops. Now, the other one, which I often recommend, and if you've got my 5 top tips for menopause, you'll see this in there, is the Woman Essence. So I took this through menopause. I'm like 10 years beyond menopause now, and I can reassure you it does get easier. You will feel more balanced. You can feel more balanced. If you're listening and you're postmenopausal, then and you're still experiencing stuff, you really need to get that on track. You shouldn't be experiencing all those perimenopause things, hot flushes, etc., post-menopause. But at any stage of menopause, this woman essence is lovely. So 7 drops, AM and PM, in water for as long as you need to. You can put it directly under the tongue, that's fine. I just think it's nicer to kind of sit with that glass of water, honor yourself, time and place, and just give yourself a few moments to drink that. So there's 3 there. The woman essence generally, the calm and clear if you know you're likely to feel stressed or you're going through a period of stress, you've got a big project on, just pop that in every day. Or I've got surges of anxiety, the emergency essence. The other one that I bought in, which I might talk about a little bit more on another day, put things in the comments if you've got things you'd like me to cover this week, is purifying essence. So this would be very good if you're experiencing hot flushes, headaches, you're feeling congested before your period, for instance, signs that the liver is working hard to break down all those excess hormones that I talked about earlier. So your purifying essence is something that you could take, morning and night for a month to have a bit of a cleanup. It's great alongside any other cleanse protocol you're doing. So you might be doing a superfood cleanse, you might be just avoiding, tea, coffee, sugar, alcohol, gluten, etc. and just want to add something in. Purifying essence is great. So a couple of times a day, you're going to have that in some water. Now, the other thing, which I'm just going to talk about, so although I'm a homeopath, and that is, the primary point from which I prescribe when someone comes in, I give a lot of this adjunctive advice alongside our um, homeopathy. So everything I've done so far is not homeopathy. It's been adjunctive advice, which is very general. With homeopathy, we get very specific. So we're much more, how is it for you? Oh, you're getting hot flushes. Oh, you're getting angry. When does that happen? How do you feel? Can you describe your hot flushes to me? So we will base a prescription on very specific symptoms when it comes to homeopathy. And that's why it's quite rare in this space that I will recommend a homeopathic remedy. I might say, look, this sounds like you, but perhaps you want to check then in with a homeopath who takes your picture properly, who looks back through your whole hormonal health history. And if you're, I don't know, you're up in Derbyshire and you think, is there a homeopath nearby? Or you're happy to see someone online, pop that below and I'll send you a link to one of my colleagues and get an appointment. Unfortunately, I'm not taking on new clients myself because I have a busy practice and I'm focusing much more on this kind of one-to-many space where I can give advice to a wider group of people, and then you can take that forward. So, share this. If it's useful for somebody, share this video. If it's useful for somebody, invite them to the Facebook group. If you've got a friend who's suffering, don't let them suffer. Just show them that there could be another way. One of the things that we ask at the end of our course is, could you be an ambassador for natural menopause? How does that land for you? Me asking you that question. There's lots of you that are fantastic ambassadors for natural menopause and giving lots of advice and helpful information to others. That's a really wonderful thing. So the other thing that I was going to mention is tissue salts. So these are what we call low strength homeopathic remedies. They are very easy to get hold of, and it's very easy for me to say, hey, this would be helpful for you to add in. And one of the most useful ones for stress and anxiety is called K-Lifos. Now I'll put a link to all of these things below, so rather than spell that out, I'll put that below. K-Lifos is a tissue salt, a low strength homeopathic remedy that you could take for nervous system support. So I'll put a link to that down below. So much more I could say about anxiety. If the gut is not in order, then you should be taking a probiotic called Bifidus because that will help you absorb your B vitamins more efficiently. Your B vitamins are used up under stress. They're water soluble. We need to replace them on a regular basis. Same with vitamin C. If you're listening and you're prone to immune system issues, You kind of you feel like you're getting a cold before your period, or you feel like you're coming down with something, getting a bit of a sore throat before your period, then you just check in. Are you replacing your vitamin C regularly? Because your vitamin C and all of your B vitamins are used up very quickly. So particularly as we go into the winter months in the Northern Hemisphere, make sure you've got adequate foods with vitamin C in. Have you got adequate foods with vitamin B in? If you're vegan, that's much, much harder for you. You're going to have to concentrate much harder. Maybe even go to some of the superfoods like blue-green algae or cracked cell chlorella or spirulina to get a really potent source of B vitamins into your diet, because you've chosen not to go to the animal kingdom, which is where an awful lot of our B vitamins are. So, yeah, B vitamins and vitamin C, water soluble, you need to replace them regularly, and just check in with that if you're going through a period of stress and anxiety. Have you got B vitamins in your diet? If you have, and the gut is at all disordered, you might want to look at taking a probiotic with bifidus in. So this has been quite a long session. I was going to just hop on for 10 minutes, but I'll put this up on my YouTube as well, because it's full of useful information. How is menopause for you is a fundamental question to be asking yourself and getting answers for. So I'll put links below to all these bits and pieces. Press #replay if you are watching on replay. As I said, that helps keep this in the space for other women to benefit from. And share the space. If something's been useful here, please let me know. Otherwise, I don't show up. Have a great evening. Have a great day. And sending you love wherever you are in the world.